Now, the story of 3 Days to Kill belongs to Luc Besson. How did you come to make this together? How did it come about?
I saw the script out there, and I'm a big fan of Luc's. I love The Professional. It's one of the most important movies to me as I was growing up, and I thought that it mixed sort of action and humor and drama, and Natalie Portman and Jean Reno and Gary Oldman. Everybody's so good. And I saw some elements of that in this screenplay. And then when Kevin Costner started to circle it, I jumped all over it.
Now, since most of it is shot in Paris, was he helpful in the art of French filmmaking, or was it very different as an American filmmaker shooting over there?
Yeah, it was, and I'm very American in my filmmaking style, and Kevin is clearly very American, and I thought it was to both of our benefit to be in Paris, working with a French-speaking crew, a director of photography named Thierry Arbogast, who won 3 César Awards, which is the French equivalent of the Academy Award, who's very artistic and soft-spoken, and Kevin and I are over there, in our classic sort of big, loud American way, and it was that influence of French culture that I think brought out the best in both of us.
Now, I thought everyone really nailed their parts, not just the main leads, but also the supporting cast. I thought Connie Nielsen was charming, and Mark Andriani, who plays Mittat, was a riot.
Yeah,
so
he's funny.
He is, yeah. So tell us about casting decisions. Did you have your mind set on certain actors, or were they outright offers? Did you audition, or?
I auditioned a lot, and I think we got very lucky with the 3 supporting roles of the Mittat character, the Jules character, and the Guido character, who are characters that Kevin Costner would traditionally be at odds with. But he's learning how to be a better man and a better father through this strange family that's staying at his house, through this limo driver that drives bad guys around Paris, through this accountant that cooks the books for gangsters, and they're strangely helping him be a better father, which I think is part of the charm of the movie. And then, of course, you have the 3 very powerful, very beautiful women of the film in Connie Nielsen, Amber Heard, and Haley Steinfeld.
And Kevin Costner was fantastic in it. I loved him. He gets the action part, he nailed the comedy, and also obviously a handsome leading man. The comedy I really want to get to. I thought the teenager-daughter comedy mixed really well with the danger and action elements. Was that all in the original script? Was some of it improvised? Or was the cutting maybe something you devised kind of in the editing room, the way it was cut?
Well, it's sort of all of it combined. There was a great deal of that on the page. A great deal of humor was on the page, but then you get lucky with the actors. You see, ooh, I can tell they can nail it, so I can push them a little harder to be a little bit more snappy here or funnier there, or take that moment there because of their level of understanding of humor, which is very tough for actors to understand. And then, of course, also in the edit, you can enhance that even further. So it's on the page, it definitely happens on the day with the actors, and then you bring it to its highest level, hopefully, in the finishing process of the editing room.
Now, the film looks like it was a costly production. What are your expectations? And is there a sequel in the works? It looks like there is, because it was kind of a cliffhanger. I mean, I was very pleasantly surprised and entertained, so I'm kind of hoping there will be.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, but that's in the hands of the audience. It's designed to be a surprising film, because I think people expect an action film. And hopefully it's much more comedic and hopefully much more touching than you originally anticipated. Just, the bike riding scene and the dancing scene and just this journey that this guy's going through as he's juggling these 2 difficult life requirements, his work and his private life. And it's something we can all relate to. We're trying to find balance in our lives, and it's a very relatable subject, and I think Kevin tells that story very cleanly and very honestly.
Very honestly, yes. I love the bike riding scene,
yeah,
and the dance scene as well. It was very touching.
Kind of you to say.
So, so I read an interview somewhere. You said that it was kind of like, you were wondering what it would be like if, what does James Bond do when he goes home?
Yeah.
So I think, that was the story, the main.
Yeah, I mean, there's a component of you're always with James Bond on the case. What's his domestic life like? And it's just what happens when you get ejected out of that world, for whatever reason. And, we go home with the spy who comes in from the cold. And he's estranged from his wife, and he's estranged from his daughter, and he's got to earn it back. And it's comedic and touching to watch him struggle to find his footing. And, Kevin does that so well, that rough and tough curmudgeon, but with a heart of gold. And I think he's sort of the champion of that character, and I'm very pleased with what he brought to the role.
Yeah, me too. So the title of the film, who came up with it? Was that the original title? I love the pun.
Well, good. I mean, it was meant to be, look, the case, you have 3 days to solve the case. So you have 3 days to get this done. It comes from Vivi. But then the mother goes to London for 3 days. So in the eyes of the daughter, well, I guess we have 3 days to kill. meaning just 3 days to hang out. So it's meant to be a double entendre in that respect, and I'm glad it landed.
So what are you working on next?
I am working on Spring Awakening now, which was a musical on Broadway that won many Tony Awards, and it's sort of a coming-of-age, youth against establishment story that is very, very emotional and has an A-plus pedigree, so it's a big departure for me. There's no explosions, there's no karate, there's no car crash. It's interesting subject matter, and I look forward to the challenge because I'm always trying to grow as a filmmaker and keep my toes tapping and keep evolving and keep everybody guessing.